Welcome to the India Fintech Diaries, the only podcast focused exclusively on the Indian fintech market. I'm Elroy.
And I'm Hemant. In each episode, we dive into the latest trends, ideas, innovations, business models, and personalities that are shaping India's fintech landscape.
We also invite amazing guests who are innovators and industry players that are driving the change that is helping make financial services more modern, innovative, and inclusive in India. Come join us as we explore the changing landscape of fintech in India. Welcome to India Fintech Diaries, the show for all things Indian fintech. I'm your host, Elroy.
And I'm your host, Hemant. Loyalty in India is big business. The sector is expected to grow at 10% plus CAGR over the next 5 years, and the landscape in India is rapidly evolving due to technology, changing customer preferences, and regulations. Add payments to the mix, and we have some very interesting propositions. To discuss more about this intersection of loyalty, rewards, and payments, we have with us today Rishi Batra, founder and COO of Twid. Welcome to India Fintech Diaries, Rishi.
Thank you very much, guys. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you for hosting me, Elroy and Hemant.
Pleasure to have you, Rishi. And before we directly jump into the topic for today, can you share some of your backgrounds with our listeners?
Sure, yeah. I've been born and brought up as a Delhi boy in a joint family. Enjoyed the value of living with my grandparents, with my parents, with my uncles, and a lot of cousins. So, deeply believe a lot in value, right? At the same time, I did my engineering from Pune University, went to MBA IIT Ghaziabad, and I've been on the finance side and investment side for the remaining part of my career. Joined corporate partners where I was leading, initiating coverage reports. We did it for 8 banks. Joined Times of India as part of their investment group, leading digital from based out of Delhi. Did some good ones before the entrepreneurial bug got me. Me along with the Amits, that's Amit Kaushal and Amit Sharma, first started Fastshot and now Twid. And both have been in the space of rewards and loyalty ecosystem.
So, Rishi, loyalty is an area that I've been really curious about, but there's not much that you get to read and try to get to understand. So, if you can give us a quick bird's eye view of the loyalty landscape in India, that would be very helpful for our listeners.
Absolutely. I think loyalty is a very generic concept and a generic word. If you look at it from user perspective, there are four gambits that come into it, right? First and foremost,
Okay.
is which is very prominent is instant discounts. You go to any of the websites or offline retail, you get 10%, 20%, 30% off. That's part of overall loyalty gambit. Second, which is cashback, falls also under that. Third, which I think is more interest, which is loyalty points, where it actually operates in. And fourth are merchant offers, what you get on UPI apps. So if you look at this collectively,
Right.
what merchants and issuers are trying to engage with their consumers, this becomes a very, very large kitty in terms of just not only loyalty point ecosystem.
So, Rishi, today I'm enrolled with numerous loyalty programs, yet only a handful genuinely offer customer delight. So,
Mm.
in your opinion, what are the challenges encountered in crafting a loyalty program that for contemporary Indian consumer and making it sticky and stay with them?
That's a very interesting question, and I'll link it back to my earlier one. As you can see, there are four types of gratification as consumers, right? Two of them, what I just mentioned, which is instant discount and cashback, are more of the instant discount or instant gratification for the consumer.
Correct.
Loyalty, on the other hand, is a very long-term engagement, as any of the merchants, issuers, businesses would want to do. Ask them, they would want to promote loyalty and not instant discount and cashback because it's profitable. It is much more consumer engaging. However, this is long term. You need to
Yeah.
invest now for results to be seen after 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Now, given the fact that the businesses are under AOP pressures, quarter in quarter improvements, the results, you will see a lot of those instant discounts and cashbacks taking prominence as compared to loyalty points and ecosystem that we are trying to
Correct.
work with.
Correct.
The element is, if you look at any of, let's say, bank numbers, you will see the instant discount cashback component, what they spend, at least 2x as compared to their loyalty point spend. Now, isn't it counterintuitive that with this is not profitable, the other one is, and they're not spending much there? Having said that, what Twid has done is Twid has made these loyalty points in the form of instant discount for Elroy, Rishi, and Heyman to make a transaction for your daily purchases. So what it
Right.
typically does that these loyalty points are now an added rupee balance, a hidden gem, or a hidden balance which was lying for consumers, which Twid has unlocked for them, which makes it even more lucrative. Now, what we anticipate is that some amount of these loyalty program P&L owners will start focusing on the programs, the engagement, the gratification, and not so much on the cashback and instant discount pool I just spoke about.
Rishi, good thing you bought the concept that you're actually trying to solve with Twid. I just wanted to dial back the clock a bit and look at maybe how did you come across this entire problem statement that you sought to solve with Twid?
Yeah, I think I just mentioned at the start we had two startups. The first one
Yeah.
was Fashlot, in which we guys were running our own currency called as Fcash. So you
Okay.
could go to a merchant A and earn 5%, and then go to merchant B and make a transaction. I was doing phenomenally well. But in
Okay.
hindsight, when we looked at that product, we said, does the world need a new currency? Perhaps the
Right.
answer was no, because I already own 8 programs, and the engagement could be sought well after for those particular currencies. We went to merchants and partners. We were working and saying, Ki, and those guys were saying that your currency is performing so better, is better than ours. Can you do the same magic to our currency? And hence the conceptualization of Quid happened, whereby we became more of a network. We got access to currencies so that they can be engaged, they can be burnt at a totally external ecosystem. So that's how Twid was born, actually.
Rishi, even this whole pay with points and pay with rewards concept has, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, has been around for quite some time. I remember back in the day, you could pay with your Citibank points and rewards in multiple places. And Pine Labs and a couple of other aggregators used to also enable this at POS itself. So I'm just curious, what is the secret sauce that makes Twid different from these kind of previous iterations of the same concept?
Yeah, I think very valid examples. First of all, City has been pioneer in doing it, and kudos to the team who thought of it and implemented it way back. Right, we had a lot of learnings from them, and more as a business and also as a consumer. I've been part of that IOCL card for last 15 years and thoroughly enjoy it. And now let's just step back and let's see if a person was to start it now today,
Yeah,
right? Let's say Bank X is supposed to start now what City did 5-10 years back. They have to deploy teams, both business and
correct.
tech. They have to convince partners. They convinced IOCL, Make My Trips, and various partners at the point in time. They have to convince such large partners and smaller ones. The integration timelines is extremely large given the bandwidth constraints that everyone has.
Yeah,
Fourth, there is no success guarantee even if you go and deploy this, right? And I'm just coming to secret sauce. Now, let's say we approach the same bank or
yeah,
same issuer, we say, hey, you don't need to deploy teams. We already have a merchant network ready, right? We
yeah,
have 100,000 plus online and offline merchants who's going to accept rewards. But the good part is, even if they're accepting rewards, they would prefer the mode of payment that you choose as a preferred mode of payment as well. So you get incremental business, right?
right.
So we solved the problem of deploying teams. The second problem that we solved is convincing partners. It's a ready network. Largest of the
Yeah,
largest brands are part of the ecosystem who are accepting rewards. So it just becomes an option that where to make it live, how to make it live, and what should be the program construct. And third, which is very underrated, is the intellectual capital, right? What we guys have deployed. As fintechs, as startups, you would know it better that you have to fail 100 times to be successful once, right? To
right,
succeed once.
right.
And we've failed 100 times to come up to the level that we guys are at, honestly. So it just reduces the negativity, the cycle, at the same time increases the success ratios of these issuer partners tremendously. Some numbers, I think we've been there for like 4.5 years. For certain large partners that we guys have been working with, close to 20% of their redemptions, whatever they do, like
Yeah,
X crores, 20% is being powered by Twid now, right? Given the fact that we in a phase of network expansion, we anticipate in the next 12 months we should be touching 50% of redemption to be moving to pay by points. So the secret sauce, and of course, certain some set of numbers I thought I'd just highlight. You also took a name of an aggregator, and that's a very, without getting into personal biases. On an aggregator level, the versus, let's say, network, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Visa's master than Rupees, right? Rupees, more specifically, if you look at it, they created the complete UPI ecosystem in the country as a network, right?
Yeah.
In which any acquirer or any payment app can actually come on and start working on it, right? Similarly, if you look at it from Twitch perspective, we are creating this as a network whereby any issuer or any
Yeah.
acquirer, right, or any aggregator can come on and start participating in the overall growth of the reward ecosystem. So as an aggregator or as an acquirer, you can work on handful of brands or merchants that you work with, but being part of the network, you can cover 100% of audience and 100% of engagement for the consumers, as I would like to say. So these 2-3 points on secret sauce, right, which is no team required, success guaranteed, immediate launches, and very high numbers.
And Rishi, from a customer's point of view, how does the Twid experience look like? Let's say I am on my favorite apparel brand's website and they
Hmm.
are integrated with you. What would
Hmm.
my as customer journey or payment journey would look like
Hmm.
on that website?
Oh, I think that's where I think the failures and success part also comes. We've tried
Yeah.
multiple iterations, and the ones that has been most successful is is the native integration with certain amount of these large merchants. That Hemant goes to, let's say, merchant X, who's an apparel. He had just booked his card, and he is able to see all his rewards popping into one. Yeah, so he see issuer points X, issuer points Y. These are the balances. These are the amounts that you can redeem, and this is the benefit you get. So your bill value, which is of 1,000 rupees after your coupons, you get additional 200 rupees discount, which is via the issuers that we work with. So Hemant, as a consumer, paid only 800 rupees. He not only got the visibility of all his rewards that we work with, secondly, he could redeem it instantly. And the cherry on the cake that we work with, that if you redeem 200, we give you 50 back as well. So he earned something back, which makes it the cherry on the cake, as I would just want to.
And Rishi, you called Twid as world's first rewards payment network. Now, it would be great if you could share some of the challenges, specific challenges in building a rewards network from scratch that you have encountered in your experience.
Sure. I think so. There are two large challenges that come across. First is chicken and egg, right?
Yeah.
Which came first, right? No one has the
Yeah.
answer of. And I think in our case, when we were building, I remember, I think we had two issuers and four online merchants that we had gone live with, along with, I think, 10,000 or offline store. That was just the time when COVID hit us. So we had to, shut down our offline division, and we had to just focus on online. And from those four merchants and two issuers, happy to say we're now live with, I think, 20 plus issuers and close to 35,000 online stores. So this is a thing that it's a 0 to 1 journey. That which came first, chicken and egg, has to be solved. So that's a critical one. The second one, which is very essential for the growth in the long term, is the neutrality. Yeah,
Yeah.
as a network, you cannot be having biases. You cannot be having focus toward one issuer or one merchant. You have to, create a neutral stance, and that's where that's what we've always maintained in terms of our principles. If we don't do one, we try and convince the party that why don't we do it, because of certain principles, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. We've not taken a punt on exchanges, right? Exchange point A to point B.
Right.
As a matter of principle, we believe that the shift in loyalty from point A to point B and not driving the engagement, which is point A transacting at point C, right?
Right.
Which we've stayed away, keeping the neutrality. Not saying that we might or might not do it, but it just comes from a stance that this neutrality across is very critical. We had to let go certain large groups who were very interested in launching these exchange programs, and that's a very tough call, by the way. And so these are large two challenges that come across, apart from conventional ones, which is hiring kick-ass team, creating an empowering culture, and creating an incentivizing structure along the teams, as well as the merchant issuers for the growth aspect of it.
Rishi, I think you missed out the biggest elephant in the room, which is tech. Because I'm also curious on what was the technology challenges that you guys face. Because managing integration with these multiple reward point providers, then managing
Hmm.
conversions between cash, etc., must have been pretty challenging, especially as you
Well,
scaled up.
Oh, 100%. I think tech was challenging because, as Hemant, if you remember rightly pointed out, we are at the intersection of rewards and payments.
Correct.
And this has to be, and the example that I quoted on an apparel merchant, that your bill value is 1,000 and 200 gets debited
Yeah.
immediately. This has to be at a lightning fast and a super fast speed at real time, where your latencies and other pieces can't be, there's the scope of errors there, right?
Right.
The elements of success rates is, are you above 99.99% is always a crucial element that a merchant or an issuer will benchmark you to. Now, this is a homegrown tech. We have invested a lot of it, and a lot of credit goes to my co-founders, which is Amit Sharma and Kushal also, who are great folks in terms of creating this, ground up from barely nothing, right? We're not using any of those softwares that you might be thinking of, Salesforce and others. This is completely homegrown, and it just talks to multiple issuers, multiple parties, and there's a many-to-many architecture that we have developed for it.
And Rishi, we're very, very keen and interested in also understanding the economics of this business. As I said, there's not much that is spoke about loyalty business. So if you can spend
Mm.
little time in helping us understand how loyalty business generally makes money, because we hear about points moving from one place to another, but how
Yeah.
does the actual money gets made, and specifically how Twid earns the revenue, but specifically.
So this is a very interesting question. Let me take you back that how it has been done earlier and how Twid has reshaped it. Let's say Hemant is a reward issuer,
Okay.
Hemant Coins.
Yeah.
Elroy is a consumer, and Rishi is a merchant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Elroy will go to Rishi, make a transaction of 1,000 rupees, whereby
Yeah.
he will use 100 rupees as his rewards, and Hemant will get an X percentage on the reward redemption value. Yeah,
Correct.
let's say 100 rupees.
Correct.
However, the real science is that Rishi as a merchant has enjoyed the benefit of gratification given to Elroy as a consumer.
Yeah.
Second element, Elroy has now become very, very loyal to me because he likes Hemant coins. And that element was never quantified. Merchants and issuers always align that if you are burning 100 rupees onto my platform, I will give you 5% of it. Example.
Okay.
Now, where Twit came in, we said, hey, this doesn't look right. We need to get value on the bill value that Elroy as a consumer is spending.
Yeah.
So if Elroy spent 1,000 rupees, merchant X or merchant Rishi, I want 5% on the merchant value. That changed the game for us. The economics for Hemant coins from being 5% or 6% of redemption value jumped to 30-40% of redemption value. And that's where it started coming, a lot more profitability for the issuers. Our model is same, very simple. If any points is being redeemed at merchants, we charge merchants on bill value.
Yeah.
Majority of it is passed back to the issuers for facilitating it. Our play is that more the issuers, more the merchants, we make more money. And for the issuers, the story comes is that your points now are being redeemed at 100,000 merchants, and they're far more profitable with a ready to go live ecosystem that we've created.
Rishi, I think the other thing I noticed, in fact, yesterday is going to my credit card statement, and to my surprise and shock, I saw that none of my SI transactions, which are like mandates on my card, received any points for the transactions I'd done. Right, and I think a few months back you introduced an interesting product called Reward Mandates at GFF. Talk to us a little bit more about that one.
Oh, absolutely. See, I think if you look at the overall payment ecosystem,
Yeah.
it's been very, very outdated, and no ecosystem player is speaking to the other one.
Correct.
Rewards, or rather, mandate being one player in which you will get a lot of gratification for setting it, but there's no long-term loyalty in terms of maintaining the mandate. If you speak
Precisely.
to various merchants, they say that attrition is as high as 40%, right? Barring a few ones which have done a good job, right, in terms of content wise, the attrition rates are north of 40%. Now, the rewards mandate ensures that all three of us as consumers are gratified either in burn or in earn for each and every time we continue the rewards mandate process too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been very well received from the market. Some of the large subscription players, some of the large telecom providers have adopted it. The issuers have loved it because this is guaranteed stream of transactions and revenue for it. It is just that we are in the deployment phase, and you will see us by end of this quarter go live with close to 17 plus merchants in telecom OTT space across all issuers on board. Now, having said that, there are a lot of innovation that Twid is doing just in reward ecosystem. Imagine this: you are going to a travel portal,
Okay.
Travel A. Now there are no offers running. Assume that there are no offers running.
Yeah.
Which payment instrument would you choose? Of course, the ones that are coming on top, which you use frequently. Now
Right.
there is a possibility of we showing that if you use X card, you will earn this much of coins. There's a second level of innovation that we guys are doing. We are bringing earn into the forefront, whereby we as consumers can also see that if we go and choose this card, this will be far more gratifying at this merchant, at this travel, and other pieces. That's again an innovation that we guys are doing so that we can add value to our issuers with rewards, not only redemption, but creating mandates, showcasing on and various attributes that are part of the loyalty program.
Rishi, that's excellent news. That brings me to my next question that I had. Right. So, what's really next for Twit? Can you share your views on what your roadmap for the future looks like? And also, at a broader level, how do you see the loyalty and reward space in India evolving over the next few years?
We've had good strides. We work with the largest of the issuers and the largest of the merchant ecosystem. I would want this ecosystem to grow. So network expansion becomes the first front for us,
Okay.
which typically is that I should be covering 80% wallet share of Elroy, Rishi, and Hemant as a user, right?
Yeah.
Both on online and offline. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the merchant expansion, the issuer expansion, both on the side that 80% should be covered in next 12 months. So that's the goal that we set. So that's in it for Twid. The second part, which is very dear to me, is that the value creation, what we're doing with the rewards mandate, the earns, and the redemption, that should lead to real value for the issuers and merchants. I'll give you an example. We don't quantify ourselves as that X crores redeemed and Y crores, transacted, right?
Okay.
We go in details that this was your cost per point with Twid. Your cost per point has gone down by 25%. Yeah. You were not working with, let's say, the long tail of merchants, which is 25, 30,000 or so. Now we've enabled it and you can engage with those particular, folks as well, right? It
Right.
has to, apart from doing a conventional business, which looks good, that this amount of redemption, this amount of transacted value, we go in value capturing and delivering as well. Now, once we do that 80% coverage, we would want to see that value is being delivered across those 80% of the partner ecosystem that we come across and work on. So that's on Twid. Taking your second question,
Yeah.
what do you think on the loyalty space would come across? I believe, and I just spoke about those four gratification,
Right.
modules for those consumers. There are clear one or two trends. We would see that instant discounts and cashback reduce drastically in next 3 years, and loyalty taking a front seat. This would ensure issuer profitability. At the same time, they investing a lot in loyalty ecosystem too. So you'll see a lot of
Right.
rewards, loyalty points, and less of instant discount or cashback. That's a clear cut trend that we guys are seeing. The second trend, which we would want to personally drive, is that rewards currently are computed at an MCC level, which is that if you shop at travel, you get 1%.
Yeah.
If you shop at, this category in an marketplace, you get 4%. This will move towards users. This will move towards user like Elroy, Hemant, and Rishi. If Rishi shops fashion, he might get 4%, while Hemant doing might get 8%. So from merchant MCC level, it will move towards the user level completely, right? At least there'll be some directional move that should start happening. Third, which I think is slightly important as well, selling of credit cards, and you took the name of, you mentioned about your statement as well. is
Yeah.
linked to instant discounts, or what we call it as card value propositions for handful of merchants, right? There are
Yeah.
select co-brands as well which are performing well. Those pieces would be moving towards much larger basis and focused on rewards. Yeah.
Yeah.
These three trends we see, and we're investing in them so that we should be ready when they come up.
Rishi, do you also see a shift in the way at least issuers are looking at promoting loyalty? For example, there's been a recent trend where experience-led loyalty has been a major factor. For example, early access to hot concerts and those kind of special drivers, which are only exclusively available to that issuer's loyalty base. So, do you see that also coming up in a big way in the future?
Oh, absolutely. See, I think what you just mentioned about experience-based loyalty, you would have seen one or twice, once or twice an issuer do it, right?
Yeah.
Sponsoring it as well. Having said that, there are a lot of still there is a lot of focus on instant discount and cashbacks, and rewards take a backseat. Reward spends is typically between 35 to 45% of the spend that they might do on the instant discount and cashbacks. Having said
Right.
that, these numbers are changing year on year, right? More we focus on creating these experiential loyalties as well as spend based programs directly at merchant checkouts. This will shift towards loyalty because it's far profitable, far engaging for consumers, and it creates an ecosystem altogether. So yes, in next 2 to 3 years, you'll see a lot of those being changed. You'll see a lot of focus on rewards coming from issuer side because it's P&L friendly and it's engaging for you and I as consumers.
Yeah.
आप ये देखो ना कि instant discount मिला, उसने लिया और वो भाग गया.
हाँ,
That
कभी
particular
वापस नहीं
consumer.
आएगा.
Ah,
Right.
correct. He's not going to come back, or you're at mercy of giving him again an instant discount or cashback to come back. So it's far better to weed out those consumers and focus on the ones that give you quality.
No, I know of cases where people have just taken an instant card just for the fact that there was a discount or offer on that card at that point in time and never used it again.
Correct. And I think there are multiple use cases on card value proposition like this as well, right?
Yeah.
Rishi, thank you for joining us today for this deep dive in the world of loyalty. I've learned a lot from this particular session. And in case Rishi listeners want to get in touch with you or Twid, what would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, you can write to me or you can write to our agency as well. And I think someone will give it a shout in terms of what could be. If you have more questions, more than happy to answer it, and we can align on that.
Awesome. So we'll add some contact details from your agency and your team in our show notes. Thanks once again for speaking with us, Rishi.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for hosting me again, Elroy and Hemant. I hope this was helpful.
Absolutely, Rishi. So that's it from India FinTech Diaries this week. Do log on to our website, indiafintechdiaries.com, for show notes and other exclusive content. Until next time, stay safe.